Hey everyone, in this slightly inane video, I'm going to be looking at this DashView Mini adjustable car mount, which unsurprisingly is yet another phone holder for your car. And unsurprisingly, it's yet another relatively cheap and bare bones phone holder which doesn't do much but also doesn't cost much. I'm going to go through what you get in the box, which is basically not very much. I'm going to go through the installation, and I'm going to go through the pluses and the minuses. And in short, the plus is it doesn't cost much, the minus is it isn't exactly robust, and it kind of wobbles around a bit, and there's a risk of it falling apart, which is not ideal. In any case, I'll drop a link to it in the description below so you can click through and see what you think about it, and potentially install it if you want to, but otherwise I'll go through my thoughts about it in the video. And if you have any thoughts about it, drop those in the comments below, and otherwise it would be brilliant if you like the video and subscribe to the channel. And if you have any thoughts about the inanity and stupidity of these videos, also drop those in the comments below. Those are always fun to read. In any case, with that in mind, let's go through what you actually get and see about the installation. So here we have this DashView Mini adjustable car mount, and I'm going to go through what is in the box. So you can see here we have a relatively small box, unsurprisingly, nothing exciting there, obviously seen slightly better days. If we open it up, there again is nothing particularly exciting inside. Basically, package with the mount here. Now the mount itself opens up, and you can see that it would kind of attach to the windscreen here, and kind of sit down and swivel. So it would hopefully stay in place. However, of course, it isn't particularly sturdy. Now what you'll notice here with the hinge is it's not the easiest one to move, but it also feels relatively solid. So it isn't going to just adjust too much going over bumps. The main downside, of course, is it runs into slight issues here when you're adjusting it in the direction that it's not really wanting to adjust in. So if you have a look here, if you're trying to adjust to the sides, then you run the risk of potentially breaking it if you force it too much, unsurprisingly. So it doesn't have total range of motion here, but it isn't terrible. So that's basically what it looks like. Now in terms of fitting a phone, that again is relatively standard. Open it up and then it springs closed. The normal type of thing you would expect for a DashView type mount here. So what I have here is an old, slightly broken Samsung phone. So let's see how this fits in here. This is basically the same as most modern smartphones. But of course you might have some issues, as you can kind of tell, if you're going with a really large smartphone, such as say the most recent iPhone, that could have some issues. But what you'll notice here is this Samsung Galaxy fits in here okay, but it is a tight fit. So you can see here it doesn't totally fit perfectly, i.e. the mount here is not totally large enough for the phone. And if you have a look at this mount here, it won't open up anymore. So it really is very, very tight. So that's something you need to bear in mind here. Check the measurements of your phone before you actually buy this to see if it's likely to fit. Now in terms of the measurements, it gives a bit of a measurement on the side of the case here. So on the side of the case here, you can kind of see, well, what size is the phone going to fit, and you can measure your phone against the size. That of course is not really going to help you if you're buying this online. If you're buying it online, of course you can Google for the measurements, or alternatively, you can sort of think about this and go, well, is my phone bigger or larger than a Samsung Galaxy? And then you'd be able to get a measurement here. Because if it's bigger or larger than Samsung Galaxy, then it's not really going to fit particularly well. So that's basically what we've got in terms of the size. So comparing it to the actual phone, what you can see here is the phone itself is about this large. So I'm really on the cusp of it actually fitting. And it really fits very badly. I feel like these measurements are a little bit optimistic, but nevertheless, that's what they say will fit. Alright, so that's basically what's in the box and how it actually works. Let's have a look at how it would actually adjust, or attach rather, to a windscreen. Now in terms of how it would attach, you basically have this suction cap at the top here, and then this is going to attach to the glass. It would then sit at the top of the glass here, and you can adjust it as follows and swivel it around, and potentially swivel it onto a diagonal or whatever it is that you want to do. So that's how you go about attaching it. Now let's actually see how it attaches and how sturdy it might ultimately be. So to explore how this might actually lock into a car windscreen, let's have a look at the locking mechanism here. Basically where you've got the suction cap, you have this lock-unlock bit, and that's effectively how you lock in the holder. Alright, so while I was trying to actually put the phone in off camera, it kind of broke apart. That kind of tells you a little bit about what you need to know here. You need to be super careful about how to put this together. So in essence, it might not be the sturdiest thing in the world. Now let's see if I can try to put this back together, because that will be an interesting task to see if I can do it. If this takes forever, well, you kind of know what you need to know about this, or at least you know that it's going to be super annoying to actually live with. So you obviously need to line up the holes here with the, I guess, dashes, whatever, and then try to put it back on. Now it appears to have sat back on at the moment, but it does give you an idea that if you push it the wrong way, it could obviously fall apart, which is going to be a little bit annoying. Again, not insurmountable, but a little bit annoying. The plus side of it, of course, is it didn't break. The downside of it, of course, is you might need to do this a few times. So reliability is not terrible in that respect, but it is going to be annoying to live with. What you'll also notice is these little pads here, they obviously seem to crunch a bit when I put the phone in. Now that again is going to be a little bit annoying. The pads themselves are probably there just to cushion the phone and to try to keep it insulated, because what you'll notice here is they kind of push in when the phone's there, so they create a bit of a circle or an envelope around the phone. However, without these pads, it would be a lot easier to fit a phone in. So in essence, it is relatively straightforward to install. Certainly would be much easier to install if I weren't doing it one-handed, but again, it is a little bit annoying in terms of how it functions. Now that I have the phone all positioned in here, how livable is it? And is it going to actually move around quite a bit? Well, what you'll notice here is it kind of wobbles, so if the car vibrates, it's going to vibrate obviously. And I'm not exerting much pressure here, and you can obviously see it's going to vibrate a little bit. However, it is going to stay in place. It's unlikely to fall off, so your phone is likely to be reasonably secure, subject to the issues we had before, but it's not going to be the most secure, and it is going to be a little bit flimsy, and it is going to move. So if you really need it to be secure and sturdy, this is probably not going to be the best for you. But if you're looking for a relatively cheap holder, then this might itself actually work. So if we were to take the phone out, that again is, well, we'll see how this goes, but it should be straightforward. You can kind of take the phone out, again, easier if you're doing this one-handed, and then you can actually remove it from the windscreen. Again, that's a little bit easier than attaching it, because you just swivel this base and then try to remove the suction cap, which itself is a little bit tricky. So in essence, it's not the worst in the world. It's worth considering if you're looking for a cheap one, but again, it has some issues in terms of moving around quite a bit, in terms of not having complete swivelability, and in terms of this portion where you hold the phone potentially disattaching, which would be super annoying. In any case, those are my thoughts on this phone holder. If you have any thoughts about it, drop those in the comments below. Otherwise, it would be great if you like the video and subscribe to the channel.